Good evening, folks. So back with another video, and in this video I'm going to break down a couple of trades. So last week I actually only took 3 trades last week. One trade was based on my higher time frame outlook, my weekly outlook, which ended up hitting break even. On Friday I tried the same idea again, which I'm still in at the moment, which I will kind of discuss. And then on Friday I took an intraday trade, which worked out. So a total of 3 trades last week and a trade today. So based on my trades last week, my total gain at the moment is plus 0.5%. The higher time frame outlook trade get taken out for break even. The intraday trade on Friday was for 0.5%, and the trade on Friday as well is the trade I'm still in, so that is still playing out at the moment. I think I'm up around maybe 1% or so on that at the moment, but that's the sort of higher time frame outlook play that I'm trying to hold based on my weekly outlook. So I'll kind of just break it down. If I just skip to the 1 hour chart, this arrow here is the 15th of June, so this is the first trade I took last week, and as you can see, last week started on the 13th on Monday, so I didn't take my first trade until Wednesday. So let me just come off that. So if we look at the 13th, this is where we started, and during this time when we got the charts on Monday, we were bullish. So I was expecting if we can maybe hold support, respect the previous low and break into this area, I can then look for that, long, and that might be where we can sort of hold support at, or maybe last week. But it didn't happen, and price tanked down and it came down. And if I just skip to the 1 hour, as you can see, this is where I got involved. So if we look at these days here, so we had the 13th bearish day. Again, I'm only really looking for longs. I didn't really get a long opportunity. 14th, again, I'm only looking really for longs. I was looking at this 4 hour support here, which price was holding, and I was saying, well, we're at a previous level of structure, looking left, there is a chance that we might see a push from here, but again, price come down again, and this was the key area from last week's weekly outlook, in that this is the most recent resistance the price has broken out from. So these levels to the left will be important and will hold, some weight on the way up and on the way down. As we can see here, we've kind of reacted at these levels, and as we come down, we have kind of pushed below and we sort of rejected here. So we have sort of like a level structure across the board here, and even most recent in here. So I'm sort of paying attention to see, is this maybe an area where I can get in for a long trade? Because essentially my bias is bullish, and yes, we might get sales during the session and stuff, but any time I got to my session, it was either bullish or it was mixed. And when it was mixed, when I reviewed the chart, what I preferred was buys. So I just kind of tossed the sales to the side and was like, if sales happen, then that's fine, I'm not interested. So if I just drop down to the hourly chart, and this is where I got involved in my higher time frame long trade. And as we can see here, we're reacting at this. Let me go to the 4 hour here. We made a support here at this previous level of structure, daily resistance. We pushed up, formed a resistance. We pushed down, and we confirmed the resistance, and then the next candle worked down into this zone, closing above the previous resistance and creating higher support. So essentially, to me, that is a change in structure, and I was anticipating, is this where we're now going to see that push from? Because if we've confirmed the resistance, why aren't we down here? Well, we've reacted here, and then this candle's pulled into this area and reacted and actually closed bullish above this resistance. Now, this is a tricky area to buy from. Reason being, we have a support here, which this candle you could say is basically reacted of. So it's not like we're just going to go straight to the upside. This is going to be a tough area to buy into, but I'm thinking if this is maybe going to be the start of the week, this is going to be the low of the weekly, so we could just continue up. And what my actual thought process was at this time was, since we have this level of structure and we have broken out above, if we can respect this support in this support zone, then we will continue to the upside. Okay, so that was my thought process. And if I just drop to the 1 hour, you can kind of see where I got involved in, which was here. So price on this time frame, so we had not only changed structure on the 1 hour or on the 4 hour, we'd also changed structure on the 1 hour, because I'm looking at this as this is our range. We have formed a support which is higher than this. We've pushed up, pulled down, higher support, closed above. I'm looking at this, right, and I'm thinking, well, can we push from here? If we can push from here, then I would be looking for these zones to hold, or at least this resistance, not price to pull down as deep as it did. But because my stop loss is higher time frame, I'm not looking to see and take profits off here or target that. What I'm actually looking to do is complete this triangle here the whole way up. I'm looking to get in here, stop loss below here, see if I can hold this for a higher time frame outlook. So if I just skip to the 1 hour again, what happened was I got involved here, price came down, formed a higher support. We did break this support and we pulled down. It was just a deeper pullback, and then we started to take off, right? So, you know, my stops are safe below the zone, so I know that there's every chance that price can pull down into this previous level of structure which we broke out, because if we do expect to continue to the upside, there is a chance when we get a breakout that we'll respect the structure and continue, or we might get a deeper retracement to find a pullback in which people will think, oh, we're going short, and then that's when we take off because we had the breakout, right? But then what I done was, what time was this at? Let me just check. Yeah, so I think the daily had closed. It closed forming a basically support on the daily, but you know, we know one daily candle doesn't really mean much. So looking at the 4 hour, I'd basically just moved my stop loss to break even, and price had then come down, took me out, and before we then found, you know, a deeper support and a more stronger support, because look at the wick rejection to the downside here. So that was my initial trade, and because it was taking out a break even within, like, you know, the next day, I didn't want to just upload a video and say trade break even and do the breakdown. I thought, you know, I'd maybe see if it was to get an opportunity the next day and then maybe put those trades together and just do it as one video, just if it was probably easier that way. And but again, I didn't trade until the 15th, which was Friday. And if I just go to Friday, I'll just drop to the 1 hour chart. And if we go to Friday, which is the 17th, so at this time we had pulled down, formed a heavy candle on the open, or sorry, leading into London, the 6 to 10. So we had pulled down, close a very strong bearish candle. You know, what do you expect to see after such a candle? Downside. We've seen the downside, but we failed to close below. So when we look at this daily level, we had failed to close below, and we actually had a big rejection wick to the downside. And to me, like, price doesn't want to really go down. It's struggling. You know, if like you look at the size of this candle, that's 180 pip, 190 pip 4 hour candle. Then you have the momentum continuing, which goes down another 150 pips before it flips and closes bullish, and that candle then closes like a 240, 235 pip candle to the upside, rejecting this area. So when this happened, I was saying to myself, price doesn't want to go down. You know, this is a good area to get involved in buys. Now, when I was looking at this, I was actually talking with Amber about this, and I was thinking of maybe getting involved in this candle. But what I was thinking was, like, this candle is at 1 o'clock, so this is the 1 to 2 candle. This is then the new 4 hour candle is going to begin here, okay? So if I was to get in here, where's my stops going to be? Below here or below here? I already know that price has been able to get down here today, so excuse me, there's every chance that price can come down there again. And what I was actually expecting, if we look at the 30-minute, it's a bit clear. You know, we have a clear change in structure here in the 30-minute. We pull down, form a support, pull up, form a lower resistance. We then form a higher support, and we actually close above. So this candle is the half one to half two. So this then makes up this 1 hour candle. And if you look at the 30-minute chart, you could go enter here, stops below. But what I was actually looking, because we have a new 4 hour candle opening, what I wanted to see was there a chance that price maybe comes down a wee bit, you know, respects the structure, forms its support, and then continues, and it gives me an option for maybe a stronger confirmation that we are ready to go, because we are intraday doing this, right? So there's every chance that this is just maybe a pullback on the new 4 hour to do this, because that's what we have seen that week, in terms of we maybe have a bullish 4 hour candle, and we're expecting maybe that candle to be respected and we can then continue. However, that the next 4 hour candle just tanks to the downside. We were seeing it during the week in these areas here. So although this is coming into New York session, I just wasn't comfortable, you know, buying here. I wanted to see a bit of a stronger confirmation. You know, you could say, well, look, you've got 30-minute change in structure, 1 hour change in structure, you've got a hella bullish candle here, prime entry. It is, and reflecting back on this could have been a trade for me for my higher time frame outlook, but I do tend to give my higher time frame outlooks maybe like one shot a week or so. But when this candle closed, that's when I actually got involved in my higher time frame outlook play. But on Friday, so that happened on Thursday, right? And I was like, right, that's cool. Thursday's then confirmed the support for us. Okay, so if I just so that's Thursday, right? Okay, so what actually happened was, see, when this candle closed, I actually entered a long trade, and this is my long position here, right, which is still active at the minute. I'm still holding this trade, and the idea of this trade is to target up to here, okay, and basically, or target up to the monthly of the take profits way off the screen, but I'm sort of trying to play this sort of triangle here, okay, and we had a support, but again, one candle doesn't mean much, so we need to see if the next candle actually respects the support and the low, and it doesn't. But look at that candle, it doesn't tell me price is going to go down. So what I done was I actually entered at about 11 o'clock at night, and my stop was below the daily zone, because what I seen was we come down, rejected, big push down, big liquidity grab, push up, close bullish. When I seen that happen, I was like, there's no real reason for price to come down. There's no real reason for price to come back down this way. And if it does, so be it. However, looking at this candle, and especially this candle, I expect upside. Okay. So if I just go to the 4 hour chart, or the 1 hour chart, it might be even easier. Yeah, so this is the candle here. We're forming a support, higher support, closing above. I entered here, or just a few pips above. You know, looking at this, I didn't really want to choke my stop loss and go here, or even go on the hourly. You know, this trade is based on the daily time frame. Okay, so I want to have my stop loss relative to that. I could go all the way down here, which doesn't really make sense. So I have my stop loss in and around there, and let me just double check that that's the case. Where are we? Friday. Yeah, so I have my stop in and around here. So that's the play, and I've actually locked in, I think it's about 0.42%, and the reason being was because on Friday on Friday, we have had this structure form, which is price had pushed up, formed a support, and we have then formed a, well, we have respected this support and we started to push up. So this is where we closed on Friday, in and around here, right? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to lock in. I wanted to move my stop loss into profit and trail the stop, because essentially at this time when I entered this trade I was up about 250 pips. Price had come back down about 100 pips, and based on where we were and what price was doing at the time, if I just bring this replay tool back, this is essentially where we were. Okay, so this is how we closed on Friday, right? Now on the daily that looks fine, okay, but what was I was looking at in the 4 hour, and I had a discussion with a few guys on the sim session that we were doing, really good discussion about this, and what we were looking at was these zones to the left, which prices clearly reacted at and pushed down. And what I was expecting, or not expecting, but see during the day when this price was playing out and we had these big candles happening, what I was hoping was this candle, this red one, if we can close above, I was hoping for price to maybe do something like this, close above, right? And then if we pull back, we can respect this whole zone, right? And if we close back outside above, that gives me very good confirmation and confidence that we would continue the upside. But the fact that price reacted and closed below meant that any time price was coming back up, it could struggle at this level or this level, and that's exactly what price done with this wick, in a sense that price had closed below, pulled up, and then pushed down. So what we were discussing was, well, where's the range, right? If we looked at the range on the 1 hour, this is where the range is. Okay, we've pulled down, respected the support, but if we actually close below 465, the idea was if we close below 465, the next target for price is most likely down to this wick fill, right? And if we come down to that wick fill and we break that, which is the candle which continued after breaking out, so this, you can see price had broke out, closed about, and then we pulled back, tested this zone before continuing. So if we had breaking that, the next zone then is down here, and that's basically at my target. And we had a good discussion about, you know, doing all this analysis, all this good work, and you get nothing out of the trade. So I was happy to lock in, move my stop loss, not to lock in a certain percent, to below where structure is and where it makes more sense. So it's 0.44 is locked in, and if I just play this, we can kind of see that I almost get actually stopped out twice today during Asian session and then at London session, but structure held, and I'm currently still in the trade. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trail that. So that's the current trade. Now I entered that trade at, like it says, 11 o'clock on Thursday night leading into Friday. So during Friday I actually had a trade on Friday, which was here. And if I just move this a second, I can kind of talk through this. So at this time, if I just bring my replay tool back to 5:30. Oh, let me see if this will work. 5:30. And I go to the 4 hour. This is leading into my session. So this is Friday morning. We have had a close above resistance. This candle has then pulled back, closed above. So what I'm looking at is there a potential that I could maybe fill this wick, right, on the 4 hour candle? So if I go to the 30-minute time frame, we can kind of see that we formed, let me just play this a little bit here. Yeah, so I'll come back on this to this position here. So looking at this on the 30-minute time frame, we had formed a resistance, which is our Asian range resistance, the most recent resistance on the 30-minute time frame. We have then pulled down, and our actual Asian support is is here. This is the most recent support prior to me coming to my session. So we had this big candle, volume in the market, pulled down, worked up, closed bullish. So I'm thinking to myself, what makes more sense? You know, above these highs and above this little bit of support here. And if we can break into this, we have a clean candle here. And price has already made it up to here today. So there's a good chance that we might be able to get there again. So if I go to the 15-minute time frame, we have formed a support, respecting the previous support, respecting a daily support, and respecting a resistance that we broke out of. Okay. So if I just skip one more candle, this is my entry. Now I entered on the 15-minute time frame above Asian high resistance, and it was a buy stop, because especially this time of year we're getting like 30, 40, 50 pip candles in a 15-minute candle. You know, I'm usually the type of person that waits for candle closes, but you know, the markets are changing, especially this time of year, and if you wait for a candle close, sometimes you can actually miss a move, especially when there's volume in the market, you know. So some of these candles are quite large. So what I was expecting was if we get up to here, we might get a clean push to here. So if I just play this, the idea was actually taken based on the 30-minute time frame. It's a lot more cleaner to look at on the 30-minute. So I had clearly just seen this. And if I go to the 15-minute time frame, and I just skip one more candle, we can see that we were up at this area here. So we were actually at 165,566. We were above resistance. When we actually were there and broke resistance, what I done was I actually moved my stop loss to lock in 0.5%. Okay, so I moved that, my stop loss in profit, and if price continued up to here, it would have gave me, you know, 0.77. If volume was in the market and we actually continued, I might have got, you know, been able to capitalize on a potential move, right? But based on my data, locking in 0.5%, I have a really good win rate at that. Okay, so I was happy to just get 0.5% and see what happens. So price come back down and actually hit my stop loss, which was just at 0.5, which is here. Okay, so I come out of that trade. If I continue on, we can see price pull back to retest resistance as support before we formed the support, confirmed the support, and then we got the continuation. Okay, and there was an actual opportunity, let me see, was there? Yeah, to get a 1-to-1, or at least in here, yeah. But the idea was to sort of, can I fill the previous 4-hour wick, but at the same time, looking at what's left, there's a strong reaction at the support level. Is there a chance that we react at this resistance and then continue down? And we actually did. So if I had have not moved my stop loss and profit, as we can see, price had already traveled 50 pips, 52 pips, you know, 40 pips before it closed at the resistance, which is plenty in one candle. So that's more than enough. And what if we reacted at this resistance and then we started to continue down? Because, you know, essentially at the end of the day, we've already moved up to this area today. We've now formed a resistance. What's to say we don't do this? And at that time, I'm already up 50 pips in profit, and that's more than enough, because looking at that on the 4-hour, what's to say we don't just, or on the 1-hour, sorry, what's to say we just don't have a big liquidity and grab again and we continue down? But again, this is all based on the bias being bullish. We're breaking structure to the upside. We're forming higher supports after breakouts. We've got clean traffic to an extent to the left, and as we can see, we kind of mirror this clean traffic on this side. Yes, a little bit of waiting to do, but patience pays, and I was able to get 0.5 on that trade. So far we've had a break even higher time frame trade. We have had a daily trade that I'm currently still in at the moment, and I have had a trade on Friday which is locked up 0.5%. That's an intraday trade on that, and I have a trade from today. I got involved in a trade today which I will talk you through now. So if I just bring on all my tools from today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this back to replay tool and just pull it back to 5 to 6. Okay, so when I get to my session this morning, this is how the candles are forming. So what I'm currently seeing is we have broken out. This is the first structure support that was formed on Friday, confirmed by Friday. And then we have opened up with a bullish candle, confirming the support. And then we've had a bearish candle, which actually doesn't respect the support, breaks the support, but it fails to close below. Okay, so I'm looking to myself, well, where makes more sense? What would actually make easier buys, buying opportunities? Because I'm not looking to sell here. We're changing structure to the upside. This is in line again with my bias from last week, my weekly outlook. So this is still playing out just a week after. So I've identified above this 4-hour support, there's a clean area in terms of clean candle, clean candle, clean candle. We've pushed up to there today, so there's a chance we can get there. Yes, that's going to be a lower time frame resistance, but I'm actually looking at this off the 4-hour, and what I'm actually looking to do is see if we can push into this zone, right? Because this zone here is made up of basically this area here. So this resistance is formed based off of this, and this resistance and these reactions and rejections have formed based off of this. So I'm looking to extend my take profit to see if I can get to the top of the zone. Okay, now you might say, well, why? You have a resistance here, right? But I'm going to put my take profit here, and I'm anticipating potential volume, right? So I'm looking to see if I can get a volume push. What I'll do is I'll keep an eye on these levels and see how price reacts at them. If we just bust straight through, then I want to be able to maximize that. So what actually happened at this time is, if I just I'll go through the candles in a moment, but I'm expecting maybe the next candle, right, to do maybe something like this. So let me just change this color to green. So what I'm hoping for is maybe we push down, right? Again, just before I even do that, this sort of zone here is the most recent resistance, and this is the most recent support. This here is the most recent support based off of the 30-minute time frame. So if I drop the 30-minute time frame, this is what I'm looking at here. So this is 5 and this is 5:30. So I usually get the charts 6ish, right? So this is the most recent resistance, and this is the most recent support. So I understand that we're respecting support zone here. So what I'm expecting is maybe price to pull down, right? Form a higher support on the 30-minute and then continue, okay? And if I go to the 4-hour, what I was maybe like anticipating or forecasting in my mind was, I was looking to see if we can maybe get something like this. Just say we have a push down, and then we have like a bullish candle. That's actually not great as strong. If we have like a bullish candle, it does something like this, right? So it's kind of just like a support, push up, kind of like a lower time frame, higher support, and then a bullish candle, and then we can like maybe break into this area and so on, right? But I'm not looking to try and trade into there. I'm just looking to see if we can get to there with maybe volume on London Open or whatnot. So that was my idea today, this morning, and I said buys above 533 or 352 makes sense for me, right? Because I feel like if we come down and we're banned up, you know, we've already formed a resistance here. We're banning the resistance. Resistance is obviously formed because of this support, so it's obviously an area the price is maybe struggling at. So I don't want to buy into this. I've made my mind up that the cleaner areas above here, this is where I want to buy. Okay, so that is my idea based on the 4-hour. And if I go to the 30-minute, this is what's happened. So we had a candle which pushed down, we had a candle that formed a higher support. Now this candle is the half 6 to 7 candle, right? So when I seen this candle, this is the following candle, right? Again, I'd sort of made up my mind as to where I want to be buying above, and to make it easier in the eye, I'm basically buying above the high of the 4 hour during Asian, the 2 to 6. As we can see, this 30-minute candle doesn't even break it, right? So I'm still not interested, you know, and it kind of shows what happened next. The next candle forms a resistance and closes back down into the range. Okay, so at this moment in time, I'm like, right, with a support, with a higher support, can we maybe respect this support and then start to get candles closing above? And once we kind of break above again, can we get that break and then get that continuation? Is that maybe something that we can get, or I can get? That's what I'm looking for. But price actually plays about, pushes down the Asian low again, and what actually happens is here forms a support. Now this support formed at 9 or half 9, so there's only 30 minutes left of the next 4 hour candle before it opens, and this is how that 4 hour actually closed. And if I go to the 1 hour, this is how let me just go back. That is how we closed, right? So we formed a support. Essentially you could buy from here, because if you look at this on the 30-minute time frame, this is a support and you could buy on this. However, for me, it's not a clear and solid support, in a sense that we're trading within the previous candle. Also, what I didn't really like is this is our support, this is the candle which breaks down, and this candle, which is the next one, actually pulls back and reacts at that support, and that would be a lower resistance. So essentially, to change structure back to the upside on the lower time frames, because what price is doing within these candles is price is moving down, right? So yes, this candle has closed bullish, but because this is our mid-range structure zone, you want to be above this. This candle breaks structure back to the upside. So what you want to see is, you want to see either price continuing, or what you want to see is price pulling back, forming a higher support, and maybe respecting lower time frame levels in here before continuing. And if I just play what happens, we continue up, we react at the mid-range support, next candle forms a higher support. So I'm now interested in buys. My plan to buy is still intact, right? So initially what I was going to do was have my support, or see my buy stop, sorry. My buy stop was actually going to be below here. So I was looking to get in here, buy stop below the support, and target up to here. So this support still held as where my actual entry was going to be anyway, because as we broke back in, we came back into this level, we reacted and held support, and we continued. So now that my bias is bullish, or sorry, apologies, my bias is mixed, but I prefer to buy, we're failing to break down below Asian support. We're then forming higher supports in line with the direction I want to buy, and based on my higher time frame, my 4 hour, I believe if we can break into this area, we can get a clean push based excuse me, based on the 4 hour. So if I go next candle, we break in, I get triggered in, next candle pushes up to this level, and if I go to my 4 hour chart, if I go down to 0.5%, again, what I done was, when we pushed and we were breaking above, when we were up here, I moved my stop to 0.5%. Again, reflecting back on Friday's trade, reflecting back on my win rate of moving to 0.5 and securing something is 86% or so. So it's very high, and it works well for me. What I wanted to do was, because we are approaching a 4 hour resistance, this could be an area where we see reaction, right? Because essentially this is the most recent resistance. You know, before we get up to this zone, we have to break this. So what was playing through my mind was, well, London Open, which is typically where we have volume, there was no volume in my direction. Sort of price moved down with London Open. Like this is the London Open candle here, and this is like a 67 pip candle, right? So if I would have had that in this direction, and then this candle followed this to the upside, there would have been a probably good chance that I could have got the 1-to-1 because volume would have kicked on and we would have broke this. But because I'm entering at a time where it's not usually, it's outside of my session, but then I wanted to, and I'm not that I'm not guaranteed the volume, but it's like, well, the volume, I'm unsure as to when the volume's maybe going to come in or if there even is going to be. But the idea is based on, if I identify the cleaner area to trade in, which is between here and here, if I'm entering into this zone and I'm looking to test the opposite end of this zone, where is the most efficient place for me to enter? Where do I want to be entering? Well, I want to be entering bang on here as we're entering the zone, expecting a push, and that's what we get. We enter the zone, we get a push, but we tap into previous resistance. So knowing what this is, or what this is, the resistance, I didn't want to just hold a trade and say, well, do you know what, we might react here, we might come back. Again, when you look at the size of the candles and the amount of pips these candles are moving, if I just go to the 15-minute time frame, we can see there that there's a 20 pip candle, there's another 20 pip candle. So I just moved my stop to secure 0.5%, and when we were about up here like 630, 632, price had then come back and took me out. So I was happy to just get out with 0.5%, knowing that the resistance could play a part in where we react at. And if I just fast forward, this is where we currently are at the moment. So price is just ranging, we're just struggling within this zone. Essentially what we need to do is we need to break out and hold support above, form a new target. So this is a 37-minute video. Apologies, it's quite long, but I just thought it would be better to just get these all done in one video. I should have maybe even done it in two, but I didn't expect it to be as long as it is. But that's the trade. So if I just open up my spreadsheet here, so again, yep, I locked in 0.5% Friday, 0.5% today, that's 1%. My longer time frame outlook hit break even. I give another shot on Friday, so that's still in play. So not too bad so far for June, sitting at around 4.3% with a trade still going. So looking forward to seeing what can happen. But if you do actually sit and watch this, I know it's a long video, but I do appreciate you taking the time, so thank you very much.